Just recently we got a new update for Ultimate 64, but it was unfortunately pulled back. This 1.33, if I remember correctly the numbers, and I've managed to download it because I was fast, and now I was going to make a little demo about the accelerated 6510 option. So this has included a turbo or whatever. And first we could check the settings. So let me open the menu. And here you can see there's a menu for Ultimate 64 specific settings, and down there's a turbo control, and you can set it to manual mode, and then you can check 1 megahertz steps, how fast you want it to be, and the fastest one is 48 megahertz, and the normal one is 1 megahertz. And then there's the control, it's in manual mode. You can decide how fast it's going. And then there's Ultimate 64 turbo registers. I don't know enough about those, so I don't talk about them. Then there's this turbo enable bit, and this is the same bit that enables 2 megahertz mode in Commodore 128. So this is actually quite useful. So if there's some software on C64 that already utilizes the C128 to go faster, like games like Elite 128, it has the mode which is compatible with this, but more about that later. And then there's a badline timing. This is a bit tricky to explain, but you can make it go even faster. But if you disable the badline timing, you will break everything up. So if you don't know what you are doing, leave this to enabled. And then there's this super CPU detected. So if there's a software that recognizes super CPU, you can use this to make them maybe compatible, because the speeder is not super CPU. It's just faster 6510. And so this doesn't make Ultimate 64 a super CPU. It just enables it to go faster if the software supports that. So we don't actually talk about that. But first I wanted to show you some games that are quite painfully slow on C64. So let me make this manual so I can decide the speed. And let's go with the default 1 megahertz. We save the chances, and first game we see is a thriller field vector game, which is really painfully slow. It is the correct directory, and this is the right game, and let's run it. So first we will see how it works on 1 megahertz, and then we will speed up a little bit. I don't know what happened, but it's in some kind of loop now. Interesting. Must be the beta status. Let's try it again. Maybe it's about this cartridge mode, actually, what I'm using. So let's just DMA load it there and then run it. I think now it works. I had never seen bugs like that before, so I don't know what happened. But now we have the game, and first try to turn around. So I will turn my joystick to right, and then we will wait, and wait. We see that C64 is making calculations to turn the screen up and back to the left, and we can see this is quite slow. So now we enable the speeder, So we go in the correct menu, and then we will make it maximum speed, 48 megahertz. And we need to exit the menu first. And now you can see that it's quite, actually it's so fast that this is unplayable. And these games have a support for fine-tuning this, so you will see on the left side that there's an angle, there's a step and extend, and we can make the angle smaller so it will step in smaller turns. And still we are running way too fast, so we can make this step going slower. So if we press X button and S button to make it bigger, so you can change the step, how fast it's going around. And this is actually quite amazing that a game like Thriller is now completely playable. Because on Real 64, without any speeders, this is unbearably slow, so I don't understand anyone who wanted to play this. Ouch. Now we drilled the hole there, but I guess we didn't get it in the perfect position, so 74%. But anyway, this is now nice and fast. And there's a slight problem here that it's fast now, but if we want to shoot something pointing this cursors anywhere, it's so blazingly fast that you can see that it's not really playable, so you would need to slow it down on this part. But then again, when you are moving, this is nice. This is unbelievable fast for C64. Amazing. So that's about that. And then let's check another game. So I was thinking about Stunt Car Racer, and that's actually playable on C64. But let's see what happens when we make it really fly. I'm so used to download games and software from the basic screen, so I prefer to use that. Actually, I think we forgot the turbo on because there's some bugs on the screen. Let's see. Let's see. So now we are 1 megahertz and 48 megahertz. You can see those two scrollers down there. They just disappear because of the timing changes, but we don't care about that now. So let's continue with 1 megahertz and go on with the game. Actually, this would be faster if I used the turbo, but it doesn't take too long, I think. We want a high score game. We are not cheaters. Single player. True, that's me. And let's just practice the first track in the game, the little ramp. And we can see that this is quite slow. It's okay, because this is playable actually, and it makes it okay. So let's drive a 1 circle around the track, and then we try what happens if we speed it up a little bit. Ouch. Not very good player. Okay. this takes too long, so let's make it a little bit faster. So let's go into the correct menu and try 2 megahertz. And you can see already on the screen that it went a little bit faster. And actually it's quite nice now. Much faster. And there's no bugs on the screen, and nice. Okay, and there's a little hack I want to show you. So let's go in the freezer menu. And if we modify the memory of the game from the address, now I have to check my notes. 173E, there's number 2. And this is the drawing distance of the play screen. And if we put the F, like it's decimal number for 16, actually I don't know if the 8 is already the maximum, let's try that. Or maybe it's even smaller, but it was 2 and now it's 8. And let's continue with the game. And you can see that the track is drawing a longer distance. You can see the parts of the track which you couldn't see earlier. But downside of this is that the game changes slower. The more we draw, the more slower it gets. Actually, I think we can really make it a little bit more still. So let's go back there on the menu and change the number a little bit again. Let's put an oops F there, and then so yes, it will draw more. And we have now 2 megahertz, and now we have quite a lot of more to do for the CPU. And the game goes slower again, but now we can see the track quite far away drawing. So let's try with the 3 megahertz, shall we? So slow down, and we need to go into menu again. Oh yes, I changed my joystick. So 3 megahertz. And now we can see that there's some bugs on the screen. Those brown color which is drawing on the screen, it starts to bug. And I think this is maybe because the CPU is too fast now, so the drawing routine is optimized for much slower CPU, so maybe it does more than it should. But we don't actually care about that, so take the other track, and we can see this is also drawing a lot faster. And 3 megahertz. Actually, I'm not satisfied with this, so let's make it faster still. But we don't want to go to the warp speed yet, so let's things like 8 megahertz. This is starting to be actually unplayable with 8 megahertz. So it's starting to be very fast, but it's really difficult to stay on the track already because it goes so fast. But it would be possible to make the Stunt Car Racer also playable and this fast if someone puts his or her mind into this. I mean, tinkering with the code and such. But this shows that Turbo for C64 has quite a lot of potential for the old games like this. And in the end, let's try what happens if we put it really in the warp speed. So let's try the maximum speed. .48 megahertz. Now we need to exit the menu. And 48 megahertz. I can't get this car to go any slower, but you can see it's really buttery smooth, the graphics. And if I try to accelerate even a little bit, this happens. It goes so fast that it's impossible to stay on the track because everything is happening so fast. And this is 48 megahertz C64. Quite impressive, don't you think? And now I want to demo a game that can use those registers to limit the speed and make the games even playable, even they are fast. So let's go here and we put the control in turbo enable bit, and we can keep the maximum speed now. And let's try Elite. I don't know if you ever played it. I loved the Elite. And it was painfully slow, but I still loved it and played it a lot. So let's see what happens when we run it with a little bit faster computer. And this time I will use the telnet connection to Ultimate 64 to change the speed, so I don't have to go into the menu all the time. It's actually a pain in the ass. So you don't see it now, but I'm already went into the menu for CPU speed, and I will change it there after the loading is ready. And this turbo doesn't speed up loading because it would break all the loaders. So whenever you access the disk drives, the speeder is turned off automatically, and this is very good because you couldn't load anything if the speeder was activated. This is how it works. I didn't remember it's this slow. Normally I use IDE 64, but it doesn't yet work on this new firmware, so I have to use this slow loading. Oh my god. And this is fast loader. Okay. And now we are running this Elite 128 with the full speed of 48 megahertz. And now I will slow it down to 1 megahertz. And you can see the ship is flashing because it's so slow drawing it up. This is how it looks with 2 megahertz. Not much better. 3 megahertz. It's flashing more frequently. 4 megahertz. Better. 5. 6 megahertz. Still flashing a little bit. 8 megahertz. Still flashing when there's more to draw. 10 megahertz. Still flashes. 12 megahertz. Flashing, flashing, flashing. 14. 16 megahertz. Still flashing. 20 megahertz. Still a little bit. 24 megahertz. Now it stopped flashing. And this is now because this is already running the speed on the border area of the computer, because on C128 it can't show graphics if the CPU is going faster. And this is okay. But now if I change the turbo control, the manual control, and now I was switching the CPU to 10 MHz, we see that it's flashing a little bit. And this is 14 MHz. And it stopped flashing. Oh, okay, there was a little bit. 16 MHz. And no flashing, it's perfect. So changing this turbo control to manual mode, we can get this even faster than it would be normally. But we don't care about that and put it into 48 MHz. So this is the faster Elite you have ever seen. And let's start a new game. So we are docked into lava, and I buy food, 60 tons of food. Nothing else. And my classic start of the game was to buy a maximum amount of food and then fly to Chauncey. And it's a corporate state and tech level 12. It should be such quite safe to fly to. So let's undock. Press F1. And if we hit the pause key, which is Insdel, and press P button, and then unpause, we can make more graphics on the screen. So normally these are disabled because the C64 is too slow to show them. But now when we have a 48 MHz of C64, we can enable all the bells and whistles the game has. But let's hyper jump to Chauncey. And let's see if we can dock there. That was quite fast. And so here we can see the planet. We speed up. And then jumps close. And then we can see in the radar something red. What it is. It's an asteroid. I don't want to shoot it because I don't know what it is. Let's fly closer. Is it a pirate? No, it doesn't shoot me. I can't catch it, really. And I can't jump closer because the mass lock. So that must fly in the same direction as I am flying. But why it's red? Is a red a threat? I can't remember anymore. But we need to fly closer to the planet that we can see the space station. And that marks the little S on the screen when we get close enough. So we just have to wait and fly. And this is quite slow tempo game. My God, this is slow. But this was gaming back then. A lot of waiting. I remember doing my homework and playing Elite. So while I was flying, I was doing the homework, and then when there was some action coming up, I would do that. That was in 1986, I think. 24 years ago. Can you imagine that? If it had been this fast, there wasn't too much time on the homework. Still no space station, but the planet gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now we can see S there, and S is the station. And now we use the radar to fly to the station, and I think the station is the dot there. No, it's not. It's there. And now we need to dock. The port of the station is always toward the planet, and we know that the planet is down there. So the mail slot we need to fly in is there. So I will show you a little trick. So you need to position the station like this. We know the mail slot is down there, and then now we need to slow down a little bit. And we want to fly there. And now you can see the radar above the S. And when it's up there, the dot we slow down, and then we turn to the station, and we should see the mail slot we need to fly in. Okay, not perfectly aligned, so I think we crash if we try there. So what I need to do now is position the ship on the radar that it's like that, and a little bit fly forward, and then we try to see how it looks. Still more. And let's see. I don't want to crash there. Okay, this is something we could try. Let's hope that no one is coming out now. A little bit of speed, and then no. Ship destroyed. Failed. Back in the day, I was so good at this, I never failed in the end. And then I got money for the docking computer, so I didn't have to worry about this anymore to do it manually. But like this, you can make games more faster. And while we are at it, let's make one bonus game. So let's reset the computer. And I will change the turbo for 1 megahertz. Oops. And let's see. I absolutely loved Leaderboard Golf. It was relaxing game. Let's hope this was faster to load. No cheating. Okay, some games are problematic with the speed there. So now we have a 1 megahertz, so everything should work. I choose one player, and now I can type my name. This is okay. But what happens if I turn the computer to 48 megahertz? Hey, this actually, oh no, there you go. If I press the button, it sometimes bugs, as you can see. So the keyboard reading routine doesn't like ease. So this could be fixed to work with the speeder, but it would need some coding. So now we have 1 megahertz. Let's go with the noise level, 18 holes, and the first course. And this is leaderboard. It draws the screen a little bit slow. And after we hit the ball, it changes the position and redraws the screen. As you can see, it's quite slow. But what happens if we turn on the 48 megahertz? Now we have a max speed. The game is still playable. This is interesting. So the ball flies like it should be, because it syncs to the screen drawing. And now we can see, did you notice? It redraw the screen quite fast. So fast that it's hard to notice. And this makes this game quite playable. Okay, it doesn't really change the playability, but you don't have to wait the screen to draw. And this is quite amazing. Uh-oh. Splash. A little bit slow. Let's try it now. And let's go back to the 1 megahertz. We have 2013 yards. Actually, I don't have any idea what kind of club I should have, but let's try this. Okay, that was actually quite good. And now we regrow the screen with 1 megahertz. Waiting, and with 48 megahertz it was snap ready. But actually, this has or was everything I wanted to show you about what does it mean to have a turbo option on Ultimate 64. It can make things more fast and you can break many things with it, but maybe in the future we have fixes for games that will utilize the faster CPU. We will see in time, and you can still use it on certain games like that. So, till the next time.